Besties, we are back, and I have Christen Clark here with us today. What can I say about her? Why is she here? She is here because when you think about having someone in your tribe, on your team that supports you, undergirds you, is an ally, is a powerhouse, multifaceted, is a mom, is a wife, was a corporate girly, and we're going to talk about her transition into being now a boss ass in her own entrepreneurial spirit, just all of those things. But outside of that, I just like to call her my friend. And I think that it's really important to be able to have people that are there that will speak your name in rooms when you're not, that will make sure that you're protected when you're not in certain areas or certain places. But outside of that, that just really supports you. And I'm excited to be able to support her in this next phase of this wonderful journey she is about to be on. We have a lot of things that we are going to cover today. But as always, I'm just so thrilled to have you here, Christen, with me. But let's start telling our BFFs, who are you? Who is Christen Clark? Give us a little bit about your background.
Yeah. So first of all, when we agreed to do this together, I was pretty clear on I don't do well with compliments.
I don't want to hear it because it's all true.
So who is Christen Clark? Well, she is uncomfortable with compliments, but we don't have enough time to unpack that today. So in a future
different episode.
So yeah, I'm a wife. I'm a mom. I am a friend. I'm an aunt. I'm a sister. I'm very close to the people in my world. So my sister lives 5 minutes away. On the weekends, our families are almost always together. And I would say that, I used to lead with, I'm a corporate woman. And now I lead with, I'm a wife, a mom, and a sister, and an aunt, and a friend. And I have made that shift for, I don't even know, Amber, how long, maybe like a year that I made that
transitioning.
Yeah.
I think you've been intentional.
Yeah. And so it's funny because I've been in corporate America for 16 years, which is so crazy. I was at the same company for 12 of those 16 years, and I just wasn't being fulfilled. And if you would have told me 5 years ago when I met Amber and I switched to segment and I learned everything that I now know because of her, if you would have told me 5 years ago that I would be leaving corporate America and venturing out on my own to be an entrepreneur, I would have told you were crazy. So, but yeah, I just started my own digital and affiliate marketing business. And so I teach people how to monetize their passions on social media. And I do it in a really intentional way because my past allows me to use like my old sales leader skills, my old change management skills, experience strategy skills, and funnel that into actually helping people make money and not struggle. And that's one of the things, Amber, that like you and I have always had in common is that we want to help others build wealth. Yeah. And this is just a perfect marrying of my ability to help people do that. So whether they want to like get out of debt, whether they want to stop working the 9 to 5, whether they want to, take off some financial burden, this is a real way that literally anybody can learn how to build wealth. And so I'm just so excited to be able to help people in such an intentional way. So yeah, that's who I am.
So I'm going to take us backwards a little bit because you're talking about the current, but I have had a front row seat, BFFs, to see this powerhouse and her journey over at least the last 5 years, right? I think fairly say when we met each other. Let me go back and tell our friends here how we actually formed our friendship, which I know has benefited me greatly, and I hopefully vice versa. But we originally met at the organization that we're both a part of, and we had lunch. And, when Christen was coming over to the new team, and we went somewhere, we had a burger.
To Wahlburgers.
Went to Wahlburgers, and I remember her saying, I'm not going to eat the bread because I'm going to have fries. So I'm going to eat the burger and not the fries. And I was like, that's a great idea. As I was eating my burger, I was like, I'm just going to be the greedy ass here. But I thought that was really cute. But outside of that, like, I hadn't really seen you a lot. But what really started our true friendship was there's corridors in the organization that we're a part of. And I was walking past, there's this hallway where there was this bathroom. And I'm walking past the corridor, and all I hear is, Amber Lewis, don't you walk away from me. And I look, and it's Christen coming down the hallway, and she's like, are you avoiding me? I was just going to the kitchen, but if that's what we're going to say. And after that, it's all a history. But, you know, I say all that because as I have watched Christen, and some of the things that we're going to talk about today is we've had real conversations about where she was in her journey as a corporate woman and how you continue to move up the ladder of success. And she was intentional, and she did the things that she needed to do, and she was making the relationships that were important. And she was a servant leader, and she really cared not only about the employee, but about the client. And she had that top of mind, and she did everything right. When you think about right, or you think about what good looks like, she did everything right. But a part of the conversation that we had was, when it comes to our world, within corporate, or within, you know, and not even just within corporate, but within whatever you're doing, finding validation within who we can say we are when it comes to business. And when it comes to our successes within work and things like that. And I looked at her, and I could see a lot of those places, or a lot of those things was coming from it. But I would take a step back, and I'm like, I mean, she is a badass. I'm not taking that from her, but I'm like, God, she's so much more. She's so much more than how I think she sees herself and how she's showing up. And so we would have the conversation around, you know, the intersectionality. So if you haven't seen the conversation with Jessica Banks yet, Christen and I would have that conversation about the intersectionality of your purpose and relationships. And we would talk about, you know, her relationship with her daughters and being able to be there. But as you're climbing this corporate ladder, and, you know, at that time, you know, she was about to have another baby, and she had just gotten married. And so I say all this about her journey because, Christen, when you think about the model or the epitome of who you see as a corporate person, would have been that picture in the dictionary when you open it up. But
which is so like cringy. I mean, I drink the Kool-Aid so hard. And I just remember, like, one of my husband's friends' wives was like, I will never work for the man. And I was like, okay, like, but guess what? Like, now I'm like, hell no, I will never work for the man again. It's just so crazy, like the mindset shift that has transpired.
It's a mindset shift, but I know you say cringy because a lot of times when we look back on the things that we've done or the decisions we've made or where we were, we feel like it's cringy, but I don't want you to own that, because it's not. It's where you were. It was a part of your journey, and you had to be on that part of the journey to even show up as the woman that you are today, because you wouldn't appreciate the space that you are today without being that person.
Or have the relationships that I have today, which, you know, like you and I've talked about this, like I reflect back, I'm somebody who thinks that everything happens for a reason. Amber knows about this, but I grew up with not a lot of confidence, and I had one individual in my life who was a relative who was always encouraging me, telling me that I was great. And I didn't believe it. And I would just say, well, you're my ex, so that's why you believe in me and think I'm so great. Like we're blood, related. And so like growing up through school, I was the youngest in my class. And so I always had to bust my ass so much harder than everybody else just to be at minimum. And at sports, like I wasn't naturally good at sports. And so I always had to bust my ass there too, because I was looking for affirmation from certain people and I wanted it. And so when I got into banking, I was in college, I was a part-time teller, I started to see success in helping make recommendations to clients and get them into the right products and services. And that just kind of grew into my career. Like I kind of just fell into banking. And one of the most pivotal moments is one of my favorite mentors of all time had said to me that you have a natural ability to lead people. And that was the first time in my life that I was ever told that I had a natural ability to do anything. And I'm not trying to sound like cheesy, but seriously. And I thought, well, if that's a natural ability, like I can't waste it. And I thought the only way to leverage that ability was to just go all in corporate America. And I had my 2 girls at the time. I was married to my previous husband. And I just ingrained myself in showing my children that you could be a strong, independent career woman. You didn't need to be a male. You could be a good mom. But I sort of sold myself a lie in that, because by busting so hard to climb the ladder, it was at the detriment of spending some quality time with my girls. And I'll never forget when my oldest daughter told me that she read her first book from front to cover with my mom. And I'm so happy my mom was able to be there, but it sucked, like I should have been there. And so kind of fast forward, I've had a very successful corporate career. I've had some tumultuous times. I've made some of the best friendships. And for those of you that don't know how amazing Amber is, like one of the reasons I just adore her and appreciate her so much is like, she taught me so much of what made me successful these past 5 years. Like I knew sales leadership. I knew how to coach people, but the skills that I learned to truly initiate behavioral change management, project management, focused execution, honestly, most of that came from Amber. And luckily, we built a friendship that was more than just that. But I mean, I received promotions, no joke, based on the skills and knowledge that Amber taught and transferred to me. So I'll forever be grateful for her for many reasons, but that's one of them. And it just, within those years, as our friendship grew, and you said this earlier, Amber, like you pulled me aside, if you remember, and you're like, you realize that you're looking for validation through work. And at that moment, like it clicked. And I'm like, yeah, because 16 years ago when I started this journey, I didn't have any confidence, but now I have, a loving family. I have a husband who thinks that I'm amazing. And let me tell you, he's seen me in my ugliest times. My daughters are 11 and 13. They are obsessed with me. They call me their best friend, but they're also slightly terrified of me. So we have a good balance. And then I have my son that is 17 months. And I think through the conversations with Amber, through the love that I just have and the confidence I have, like corporate America just seemed to be more of my past, because it just wasn't fulfilling me in the same way that everything else was. And also, I couldn't see people actually succeed. And I didn't like that, because when you climb the ladder so high, that human component of actually seeing somebody be successful with their financial goals or hit milestones in their professional career, like you don't get to have that front row seat. And I think for me, that was really hard to accept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, again, having a front seat to, I think, your overall journey, I could see like the light go on. I also think, there's a saying that my uncle would always tell me: when you're intentional, the universe will provide you with everything you need. And the minute I saw the light go off in your head for what was right for you, I think is when the universe started to provide you with things like your digital marketing and you being able to find a foothold and say like, oh, wow, I really like this. I really feel like I'm changing some lives. To me, it was the perfect juxtaposition of your corporate America persona and what you brought to the table, but what I also feel like they didn't value within you. And then being able to juxtapose that with the freedom to be able to spend time with your children, but also be able to change lives by enabling others to understand how they can create wealth. So you put it together. And I also think a part of it is the fact that your confidence really grew. And so, for our besties that are on and listening and watching, a part of what I saw with Chris, and I go back to that again, is listening to her talk about herself, but then the person that I saw in front of me seemed foreign. Because I saw this beautiful, vivacious powerhouse, and I think that you had it in you and you knew it, but I think it took for you to actually go out on your own and start building this business, because within social media, especially that space, like you don't have an opportunity to be a shell of yourself.
No.
Like you have to get out there. You have right, wrong, or different, even if it's not comfortable. And I saw you like, seriously, guys, listen, I was on social media before Christen. Kind of effing around. I had my little social media pages. I was just dropping some reels here and there. And then she came to me one day. She was like, so I'm doing digital marketing and I'm selling, and da. And then 2 days later, I had 50 reels from this woman come across my page. And I was like,
what is she doing? You actually said, I want to support you, Lay and I do, but here's the thing, like there's a lot.
First of all, like I was very proud, I have to say, because when you watch her, and go follow her because you see her handle here, but when you see it, the woman that I knew that was a little bit more meek, like she's a firecracker now, don't take that from her, but she was a little bit more meek. And then I'm seeing her dancing on social media and fake singing and I don't know, mopping floors and stuff, like all this stuff that I see. And I was like, well, damn, Amber, get your shit together. So she kind of put fire under me too, because I was like, she came out the gate running, and I love that for her. But I also was like, this is a sign for you. Like, it comes back to intentionality. And this woman here with me today is nothing but intentionality, and intentionality breeds success. And that's one of the things that I want to take from this conversation too, because she was successful in her own right, but to come out the gate and just go. And I think I even told you, like myself and some of our friends were talking, we're like, God, we want to support Christen, but we can't like all these damn posts. Like she's like, it's like 20 posts a day. Like I'm in my stories, like, I'm like, I cannot keep up, but I love it. I love it. And can you talk a little bit about how you found that confidence, like as you were going through that journey, and it still are, because it's never ending?
Yeah. And it's so funny because the way other people view me is always very different. And before I answer your question, Amber, one of the things that I'm always so surprised by is when people meet me, they, like, in some ways, females, they don't like me. And I am like, what am I doing wrong? And I've said it to Amber. We talked about this at the holiday party. Like, I can tell they don't like me for no reason. And my sister was like, because you come across as so confident and put together. And I'm like, but if they only knew that like I ate shit, like trying to clean up, whatever, like, I'm just, I didn't have that confidence. And so that was kind of holding me back from starting digital marketing, because if you look at my personal pages, I only ever posted pictures of my children, of my family. I never took selfies. And to record yourself, it's like a whole different beast. Like I can get in front of thousands of people and talk, but to actually film myself doing some of this stuff was weird. And if you go back and you look at my beginning videos versus like the middle versus where they are now, like if you told me months ago that I would be dancing in my bathing suit, appropriate bathing suit, by the way, it was my mom bathing suit, but dancing and singing to Spice Girls, to promote this world of monetizing your social media, I would have told you you're crazy. And to your question about where did the confidence come from, I think it just gradually built based on a few things, based on the fact that I wasn't getting negative comments. So many people, and myself included, one of the things I think that restricts us from going maybe all in on social media is you're afraid of the haters. And that was a big concern of mine because, again, I'm not a very confident person. So I'm like, well, they're going to make fun of my nose. They're going to make fun of my voice, all of this stuff. And guess what? I got a ton of support. And then I was afraid of from strangers, by the way. So then enter into the chat people that know me that were messaging me on the side and said, hey, your videos are popping up in our feed. I don't know what you're doing, but I have to tell you, like, if you're doing it, you're going to be successful and I'm excited to watch. And, that gave me a bit more confidence. And then I think lastly, in digital marketing, there's so much like mistruth out there that I felt compelled to start to set the record straight as to what digital marketing is, what it isn't. And I started to receive a lot of positive feedback on that, which in turn helped build that confidence more. And so it was definitely a step-by-step approach to the point now where I'm completely okay doing whatever on social media if it helps bring awareness to people that are looking to build wealth or don't even know that it's possible to build wealth without a fancy degree or without inheriting it. And so that in itself kind of makes it beautiful too and gives me the confidence because I'm determined to help people. I am somebody who always wants to help somebody. And this is a tangible way in which I can do that. And that just, it's like fulfilling, which in return gives me more confidence.